Hi y'all, this is Larry from Deep South Texas. It's the middle of July and the garden is basically burnt up. There are a few things that are still growing, so let's take a look at what's been happening here in this heat in South Texas. The green beans are all burnt up. I need to pull these out. I was able to collect some seeds for next year. Some of these pods that are left, they don't have much in the way of seeds in them, so they'll be coming out. Eggplant that I have planted over here, the plants seem to be doing well, but the eggplants are all very small and it's too hot for them, actually. Peppers, cayenne pepper, it's basically done. Had another Anaheim here, it's done. Here's my Sugar Rush peach. It put on a few peppers last week. If we get a little bit cooler weather, I think it would do okay. Have a couple watermelons planted in here. They have really done nothing. And this is the same bed that I had my carrots in that didn't do very well this year either. So I probably need to check this soil out and see if I need to amend this with something. Last year we had a ripe watermelon at 4th of July, and now it's the middle of July and nothing's happening. I harvested my last onions a couple weeks ago and they've been here on this rack drying out, but they're ready to get cleaned up now and bring them inside. And here are the onions I harvested about a month ago. They've been cleaned up and brought in and they're looking pretty good. The red onions were extremely small this year. If any of you out there have an idea of a variety of red onions to grow that grow in the heat, short day, please let me know, because I'm not too happy with the results. And I like the red onions because most of the onions we can grow down here are sweet onions, and I like onions with a little bit more bite. The leaves on the elephant garlic are starting to turn brown, which would indicate that it's probably the time to harvest them. But I pulled up a couple 2 weeks ago, and they really haven't started forming those huge heads and cloves yet. So I don't know, I may let this elephant garlic sit for several more months and see what happens. The ginger and turmeric seem to like this spot. They've both come up and look like they're growing well. Plan on harvesting this in November. Almost all of the tomatoes have come out, so the beds are looking a little sparse right now. I do have one tomato plant left over here in this far bed. It happens to be a Roma tomato, which were supposed to be determined and should be all done by now, but still have a few tomatoes ripening up, not really great quality. And I see that we also have some flowers coming on again. So who'd have thought that that would grow in the heat? I've also planted about a month ago some Mexican tomatoes. They're supposed to be able to take the heat, and these are going to be cherry tomatoes, I guess, if we ever if we ever see any tomatoes come from these. The pink-eyed purple hull peas, they're about done. Still see some peas coming on, but really not enough to keep them in the ground any longer. The red rippers that I received from Deep South Homestead, they're still looking pretty healthy. We're still seeing a few flowers come on and a few beans. So that's kind of nice. These will probably hang in here another couple months. I have an Anaheim pepper in this barrel over here, and it continues to grow tall. Occasionally puts on a flower, but no fruit for at least a month off of this plant. I cut the top off of a pineapple plant we bought at the store 3 months ago, and trimmed back the leaves and put it in a cup of water, let it grow some roots, and then transferred it over to this pot. And it's looking like it's doing well. It's not growing fast, but it's growing. I did this once before several years ago, and the pineapple was just getting ready to produce, and then we got a big rain, and the bucket had sunk into the ground and it wouldn't drain, and it killed the pineapple. So we'll try to be more careful about that this year. The banana trees, they're looking pretty good. I am having to give them some excess water every few days. Just put the hose on and let it soak this ground in here, because the drip irrigation is not providing enough water for them, that's for sure, especially with this heat. No flowers yet. When I checked back to my videos from last year, the first flower showed up about in September, so we may have a little wait on these yet. So I haven't gotten around to harvesting my moringa leaves this year, but they've started to grow pods. So if you want pods, they'll grow pods down here in Deep South Texas, but I really want the leaves. I just need to have time to get to harvesting them. Maybe next week. And I had 4 moringa trees that I grew from cuttings last year. I meant to get these planted in the ground, but haven't got that done yet. And they're even growing pods. So I need to get them in the ground. When I harvested my horseradish last fall, I took the excess pieces and roots and put them in this bed over here. This is just behind the bed where I had the leeks, because this bed really doesn't do very well for me for much of anything, but the horseradish seems to like it, and it can sit in this bed for years, and then hopefully those roots will get big and have a little bit better harvest than I did the last time. This is my yellow bell pepper plant. Harvested a great large number of nice bell peppers off of this plant this year. It's still growing, it's still looking green, occasionally putting on a flower, but the buds are just dropping off and not producing peppers. My California Wonder Pepper produced a few small peppers this year, but not much. It doesn't like this spot at all. The speckled butter beans looks like they're doing great. Lots of flower buds coming on all over, but they're not setting any pods. So I don't know if it's just too hot for them or I just have them all planted too close together. I'm not sure. We've had a few meals off of these this year, but I really need them to start putting on some pods here. Might not happen this year. I started some leeks. These will be for next year's crop. And I have half a bed of sweet potatoes. So a whole bed is too many sweet potatoes for me. And I saw on Deep South Homestead, they went out and picked a few sweet potatoes this week. And it looks like I've got some that are ready to come out as well. So I probably in about 2 weeks I'll be harvesting my sweet potatoes. My wheat field is all done now. I've harvested all of the heads of wheat. Here's one here that was still green when I was harvesting, but it's dried off now. I picked them all by hand, just like that, and threw them in a pillowcase. Let's see if I can get some kind of a shot of this. So anyway, they're all in this pillowcase, and I'm going to take this pillowcase and beat it with a stick, smash it around, try to get those wheat seeds to drop out, and then winnow this out. So let's see if I can get far enough away. So there's my wheat harvest for this year. Not very much, I don't think. Again, I think I probably planted these all a little bit too close together, too heavily seeded these, and we'll try again next year and be a little bit more sparing in the planting and see if we get a little bit better crop. The cantaloupe have done pretty well growing. I've only harvested one cantaloupe so far this year, and I don't see any more coming on. It's kind of hard to tell the cantaloupe apart from the sweet potato vines that are growing, but they're both growing together over here. Hopefully we'll get a couple more cantaloupe yet this year. And the navel oranges are starting to get big. We have a lot of them coming on. They'll be ready to harvest in November. Generally, this is the first citrus I can harvest here at Deep South, Texas. Surprisingly, the herbs still seem to be doing good. But the zucchini and the summer squash, they're done. So a few things still growing in the garden, but basically it's too hot for almost everything. We'll get started again here in September, plant some onion seeds, start planting broccoli and cabbage, and get next year's garden season going. Well, let's go take a look at those little chickens. They've been growing over the last couple months, and let's see how they're doing. So the chicken run is working real well. We let the chickens out of the chicken house every morning, about 9 o'clock, and throw them a little corn. They roam around out here. Here are the little chicks back here trying to stay cool. I had the sprinkler turned on for about a half hour. Trying to get this area under the bushes wet and cool. And then they hang out here even though the weather is hot. So they're almost as big as the big chickens now, the old hens. Just a little bit smaller. I think this black one back here, he looks a little, that one that just got up, I think he might be a rooster. Though my family tells me that they're all hens, but that one might be a rooster. I haven't heard him crow yet, but I'm keeping my eye out on him. Anyway, they're all doing really well. They're not using this little coop anymore. We put them inside the main coop. About a month ago we started. For the first 2 days we had to throw them in, but by the third day they recognize it as their home and they go into the big coop. On the little coop we had to put up a piece of plywood with a couple holes to let the little chicks get in and out and keep the old hens out, and that worked real well. But about a month ago they got too big to go through those holes, and that's when we moved them to the big coop. It's gone real well. Blocked off 3 of the 4 nest boxes in the big coop, and that keeps the little chicks from learning to sleep in the nest boxes, and they all pretty much get on the perch at night. So that transition went fairly easily this time. Anyway, the little chicks are about 3.5 months old now. In another 3 months, they should be laying eggs. That'll be nice. Well, the Meyer lemon tree has got lots of lemons coming on. Should be a nice harvest of these this year. To keep coming out and giving them a little bit of extra, giving this tree a little bit of extra water every day, just to make sure all these lemons continue to grow. We have one bird on the nest in here, this nest box. The rest of them are closed off right now. It really helps from keeping the little ones from trying to sleep in the nest box. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it that thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.